Hello everyone, hope you're having the most awesome day today. Welcome to Film Insight. For today's video, we're going to be discussing some restaurants' kitchen nightmares and reveal how they're doing now. So sit back, relax, and without further ado, let's get right into the content, guys. 1. Peter's Italian Restaurant. For the pilot episode of Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay headed over to a failing restaurant called Peter's, located in Babylon, New York. Early on into the episode, Ramsay meets with Tina Pellegrino and the restaurant's namesake, Peter Pasta Pellegrino, her brother, who is the restaurant's host. Viewers quickly get a peek into Peter's out-of-control ego when he claims that he would rather buy a new suit than purchase new equipment for his dying restaurant. Tina, who's struggling to deal with her brother, claims that Peter's obsession with his self-image and inability to control his emotions is at the core of the business's shortcomings. Later, Ramsay also meets with Chef Robert and Peter's friends Jerry and Jerry, who are some interesting characters. Gordon then sits down to order some food off of the menu and gets a crab cake as well as some lobster ravioli. The salad that comes with the crab cake has rotten bits hidden within. The crab cake is cold and it becomes increasingly obvious to Chef Ramsay that the crab meat is far from fresh. Additionally, the lobster ravioli resembles baby food and is smothered with parsley. How nasty! When these issues are brought to the kitchen's attention, a huge argument breaks out where no one can get a word in without having someone speak over them. The following day, the famous chef inspects the restaurant's kitchen and discovers a lot of filth and broken equipment. It becomes obvious to him that barely any money was invested into improving the kitchen and that things desperately needed to change. The next day, Gordon reveals the new appliances he had installed in the restaurant's kitchen, new plates, and a new refrigerator. He also makes major changes to the menu. Unfortunately, the changes made to the restaurant were far too late, and the restaurant closed its doors in December 2008. After the restaurant closed down, its space was taken over by the restaurant next door. Interestingly enough, it was revealed by Cosa Nostra News in 2011 that Peter had mob connections. He was supposedly working for the Bonanno family. Does this news surprise you? 2. The Old Stone Mill. In yet another Season 1 episode, Gordon Ramsay heads over to the Old Stone Mill located in Tuckahoe, New York, to rescue it from closure. The restaurant opened its doors back in 2001 and is currently owned by Dean and Barbara Marazzo. As the name suggests, the restaurant is an abandoned stone mill that Dean renovated. It definitely has a cool atmosphere, but has a ton of issues. Unfortunately, Dean's poor behavior towards the staff had caused the chefs to become uninspired and has lowered the team's overall morale. The earnings are low, making it difficult to pay the employees, which is why the owners called out to Ramsay for some aid. When the famous chef finally arrives, he's pleasantly surprised with the breathtaking exterior. He's baffled at the fact that such a good-looking restaurant is struggling. Though after ordering a meal, he quickly finds out why. The following day, Ramsay scouts around the area for competing restaurants so he can make a concrete plan on how to improve the Old Stone Mill. He notices that there are tons of different restaurants but no steakhouses. Feeling inspired, Ramsay brings a prime rib back to Chef Michael and teaches him how to cook one perfectly. The famous chef also carries out a proper remodeling of the restaurant and it looks incredible. In the weeks after the Old Stone Mill Kitchen Nightmares episode aired, things were going great. Dean and the rest of the staff stepped up and the restaurant was working well. A few weeks later, during the 200th anniversary of the Old Stone Mill building, Dean received the key to the city. However, Dean and Barbara eventually decided to sell the restaurant, but Michael was kept on as chef. To this day, the restaurant is still open, but under new ownership. Dean Marazzo also got a lot of press after the Kitchen Nightmares episode and appeared on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. 3. Handlebar. Season 2 introduced viewers to a restaurant called the Handlebar, which Gordon Ramsay attempted to save. Owned by a man named Billy, he has long been struggling to keep the restaurant afloat and is in a deep pool of debt. Not knowing how else to move forward, the desperate owner reached out to Ramsay and his team for some professional guidance. Very early on into the episode, the famous chef meets with Billy and his wife. Billy, being a construction worker with no experience in the restaurant industry, has no clue why customers aren't flocking to his establishment. As the episode progressed, it became clear that the restaurant had numerous failings, which Ramsay exposed one by one. From their chef lacking enthusiasm about their job to terrible food being served, there was a lot that needed changing, especially their kitchen, which was filthy and broken down. The famous chef later decided that the restaurant would only benefit from a complete overhaul. He suggested that they turn the place into a gastropub, since it might be the only one available in Long Island. Surprisingly, Ramsay later managed to get Dee Snider to come for the reopening, who rode into the pub on a bike, which was then auctioned off for charity. Even though there were a few difficulties along the way, the famous chef was pleased with the relaunch and the changes that were made. Revisiting the Handlebar a while later, Ramsay was ecstatic with the restaurant's progress and was excited to see them turn a profit. Ultimately, though, the restaurant ended up closing down and was sold and reopened to new owners a number of times. 4. Lido Di Manhattan. Chef Gordon Ramsay pays a visit to Lido Di Manhattan, which is on the verge of closing down. Owned by Lisa Hemat, a 28-year-old USC graduate, she purchased the restaurant when she was only 23. At first, the business was incredibly successful, but this went downhill and it seems to be empty on most nights. Unsure of how to fix things, Hemat called out to Ramsay for some aid. When he finally arrives, he notices that the parking lot is full and is unsure as to why the restaurant is struggling. He later discovers that it might be the result of poorly cooked food, faulty and outdated equipment, as well as dirty and unhealthy storage units that would leave anyone in disgust. After exposing all of these issues, he orders Hemat to shut down the kitchen and stop sending food out. The famous chef and his team give the place a complete makeover and open up the restaurant by removing the dividing wall. New seating was also added along with new china, curtains and lighting. Ramsay rebranded the restaurant as a wine bar, which would lead to a new type of clientele. He also has a new Halo POS system installed and revamps the menu with items that the staff all seem to love. As of 2022, Lido Di Manhattan is still open and serving customers. What's more, Lisa has expanded the services to include catering and private dining. It has a 4-star rating on Yelp, a 4.5-star rating on Google Reviews, and a 4-star rating on TripAdvisor. What a fantastic rescue! 5. Spin a Yarn. As our final entry, we're going to cover a restaurant that Gordon Ramsay tried to save in the 5th season of the show called Spin a Yarn. Owned by a Greek immigrant named Saki and his wife Jennifer, they purchased the restaurant in 1995. When the business started declining, Jennifer spent an extra $650,000 of Saki's initial $300,000 budget to remodel the restaurant. How insane! Unfortunately, remodeling the restaurant didn't change the restaurant's downward trajectory, and now the couple constantly fight. Sadly, this put a huge strain on not only the restaurant, but their relationship as well. Saki takes Chef Ramsay on a tour of the restaurant and shows him their bathroom, which was renovated with $80,000 tiles, which Ramsay expresses is far too extravagant. He also orders off the menu and points out that the food is poorly cooked. The following day, the famous chef tells the owners that they need to focus on a single type of cuisine and changes the name of the restaurant to Spin a Yarn Steakhouse. Gordon also slims down the menu, making it less complicated and easier to read. After sampling dishes from the new menu, the staff are not only impressed with the food, but are ready to reopen the restaurant. On the night of the relaunch, the restaurant fills up with customers who are eager to see the changes made. The prime rib seems to be a huge hit with the patrons, so much so that the kitchen almost ran out of ingredients. But thankfully, Victor, the head chef, ordered more meat than necessary, so they averted this crisis. The night ended successfully, and Ramsay seemed to have hoped for the restaurant's future. Spin a Yarn is still open and receiving restaurants in Fremont, California as of 2021. The restaurant got a new chef in 2012 after the Kitchen Nightmares episode aired, and newer reviews seem better, with a 4-star rating on TripAdvisor and a 4.4 rating on Google Reviews. The Spin a Yarn Yelp reviews aren't quite as good though, as the restaurant has just 3.5 stars. Well, that'll be all for today's video here on the channel. I really do hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a massive like down below and comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more content like this and turn on those sweet bell notifications for instant access to our content. Have a good one, guys!